All right. If you've played Destiny 2 in the past few days, you definitely have experienced a ton of error codes. Doesn't matter who you are, what platform you're playing on, error codes have been extremely prevalent in the game. And Bungie has actually decided to make an effort to clarify why that's happening, which is really surprising because we rarely ever get communication on matters like this. But we have Bungie help tweeting out this. So let's go ahead and cover this because this is a spicy news story here. Over the past couple of days, we've seen a spike in error codes and disconnects. Yeah, I'll say not just a spike, a huge spike. I mean, literally today alone for like 6 hours, I was getting error coded every time I was trying to do just one crota clear, to the point where pretty much all my friends just got offline. Like, yeah, this game's just not working today. I have no clue what's going on, but the next part reads, the team has confirmed that these error codes are not related to the planned fixes rolling out for the recent crafting issue and are instead a result of DDoS attacks. Now that was crazy. I was not expecting the official Bungie help channel to name DDoS attacks as the reason why these error codes are happening, although it should come as no surprise, especially if you're a veteran Destiny player out there. You probably know all about DDoS attacks in the game. Let me give a quick TLDR to everyone else out there that wasn't around during the OG days of getting DDoS in Destiny 2. So basically the way it worked in Destiny 1 and in early Destiny 2 is that if you played in a match with anyone at any point in time, you could easily rip their IP address using some random website, I don't know, ripip.com or something like that, right? You could easily rip someone's IP address and it would give you the exact numbers to their home modem, 192.168, whatever all that is. And when you did so, you could then send a ton of traffic to their home modem, which would then boot them from the game. So for example, if you wanted to beat someone in Trials of Osiris, and people were doing this all the time, you could rip their IP address because you matched against them and you'd get to see their IP address. And then you would just send a bunch of traffic to them and then they would get booted, i.e. you'd win the Trials match. This was a huge problem in Trials especially. It also ended up becoming a problem in PvE at times when Gathalion and his Day 1 raid team, which had previously gotten World's First, were DDoS so that they couldn't actually compete in the World's First raid race. But I'm not going to go through the entire history of DDoS. I'm just going to let you know that it was really wild. In fact, it was so wild and it's so funny to actually see Crota gameplay here behind me, because literally my first week ever streaming Destiny 1, I was actually targeted by a DDoS attacker. They came into the stream, they were saying, hey, you're going to carry me in Crota or I'm going to DDoS you. And I was like, what does that even mean? I don't even know what a DDoS is. It was literally my first week streaming ever. And their name was iBoot Streamers. That was their Twitch name, iBoot Streamers. And I was like, wow, we're not going to carry you in Crota, because we were doing Crota carries ironically at the same time. So we're not going to carry you. So what happened? Our internet cut out altogether. Like, okay, well, this sucks. Tried to get back online. Internet cut out for like an hour. The internet was cut out over and over and over again, which really sucked, not just for getting kicked out of Destiny, but for not being able to stream when you're trying to build a stream, build a community, earn money and all of that from streaming. So that really sucked. And that was our first experience. In fact, after that happened, the next time we went live the next day, they were there again, and we literally just decided, all right, I guess we'll just carry you in Crota if that's all what we have to do. Like, we had to succumb to their blackmail of carrying them in Destiny 1, Crota's End, in order to get them to not DDoS us. And afterwards, they were cool, and they explained DDoS culture to us and how it works and how people can prevent it and stuff like that. And it was way too much for me being my first week streaming, and I definitely did not appreciate getting harassed and blackmailed into doing raid carries so I didn't get DDoS. But that was my first experience in Destiny, literally my first week streaming, and it was like that for many years. And I know a lot of you experienced some of that as well to some extent. And thankfully, Bungie issued Steam data relay with Steam about midway through getting Steam, so that way people wouldn't get DDoS anymore. So several years now, players in Destiny 2 don't get DDoS, but apparently Bungie does. And so that's what we're covering in today's topic. The next part reads, while we typically don't confirm these types of attacks and do not plan to in the future for general game security reasons, we believe it's the right thing to do for our players to communicate the added pressure to our systems given recent circumstances. And so what they're saying right there is that normally when they get DDoSed, they don't like to talk about it because it basically gives power to the DDoSers. It lets them know that, hey, you are winning, you are actually ruining the game, you do have power over us, you have power over our company, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Like, when I think about multi-billion-dollar companies and corporations like what Bungie is, obviously they have a net worth of billions of dollars, right? Because they were bought by Sony for billions. I would think that they would have systems in place. They would have, I don't know, I'm not like super tech savvy with stuff like this. I don't even know if anyone watching this is. Like, I'm sure this is like really high end modems and stuff. Like my home modem here, you know, that I use to stream and make videos on has fiber internet, but I imagine the Bungie modem has to be like some crazy server thing that can't be DDoS, right? But I guess not, because in my mind I'm like, oh, Google, YouTube, Amazon, Twitch, none of these companies, none of these websites ever go down. So how is it that Bungie goes down? Maybe it's a little bit different for live service games. If there are any tech savvy people out there that understand those systems, please comment down below and help educate me on that, because I'm a little bit perplexed, a little bit confused by that. But one thing I do know is that DDoSers are extremely powerful, and if you name them, you actually only give them more power. A lot of you will remember back, way back when, if you're an OG gamer, when DDoSers, the Lizard Squad, DDoSed, I think it was Xbox and PlayStation for 3 weeks during Christmas, basically ruining Christmas for all console gamers. This was quite a while ago. I want to say this was like 2013, 2012, maybe even. I don't remember the exact year, but this was a long time ago. And basically, they were able to keep the PlayStation servers offline for weeks. They were able to keep the Xbox servers offline for weeks. And what they did was, similarly to what the guy did to me in Destiny 1, is they use it for blackmail. They say, hey, we're not going to let the servers back up until you pay us money. And I think ironically, one person paid them like $30,000, and they ended up literally bringing the servers back online once they paid them that money, which is really wild and really crazy to think about, that literally PlayStation was brought back online because someone paid the ransom of the DDoS ransom. Like, I'll have to do some more deep research and digging into that one, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened, and some of you might actually remember that. So what Bungie doesn't want to do is they don't want to name the DDoSers and let everyone know that, hey, these DDoSers are literally holding our IP hostage. They're literally shutting down Destiny 2. Like, if you play today, like, these DDoSers have complete power over our game right now. They don't want to do that, because then they can create a ransom for Bungie, or they can basically just empower those negative forces, and you definitely don't want to do that when you're playing. And just as a side note, one thing that I always thought was strange was one time I went to the Bungie HQ. This is a little bit of insider information. I went to the Bungie HQ because they invited me to do a tournament. It was a Gambit tournament, a team versus team Gambit tournament many years ago. And when I went there, I was able to log into my actual account and play with the stuff I had. But one thing they were very careful of is they said, do not open your fire team friend request invites or whatever. They said, don't open your fire team privacy settings, rather, because we don't want anyone joining on you. Keep it closed at all times. And I was like, oh, why is that? They're like, we just want to prevent DDoS attacks. And I was like, they were like very serious. And I was like, you guys are Bungie. I was like, you guys are not going to get DDoS. Like, you guys clearly must have a crazy internet modem where that's not going to happen, right? And they're like, nope, just do it anyways. Just keep it safe, just in case, you know. Like, they seemed pretty confident that they weren't, but they just wanted to keep it safe in case. Which definitely put an interesting idea in my head, where I'm realizing now that Bungie is probably victim of DDoSing all the time. I would imagine that a lot of times when the Destiny 2 servers are acting up, it's probably due to DDoS attacks. I'm sure that there's tons of DDoSing going on. In fact, I've seen heat maps before. There's websites that actually show you all the different DDoS attacks that are going on in the world, and it's very fascinating. There's an entire online culture of internet warfare where people are sending DDoS attacks from one country to another country, from one business to another business. Like, certain businesses are trying to take down the websites of their competitors utilizing DDoS attacks, which sounds wild, but literally there is DDoS warfare happening 24/7, and you're a part of it to some capacity, especially as a Destiny player, because that's the reason why the servers have been acting up. The last bit they post here on their Bungie help post is, want to thank our players for their patience as our teams work swiftly to ensure the integrity of the game and continue to implement our roadmap for future stability improvements. So basically, Bungie's just giving us a nice message, letting us know, like, hey, we understand everyone wants to roast Bungie, everyone wants to throw punches and all of that at Bungie when they mess up, but there's some things that they actually can't control, and the servers going down due to DDoS attacks is one of them, is one thing that they're trying to point out. And so, as much as I do want to roast Bungie for their mistakes and their shortcomings from time to time, this is one where I think we kind of have to give them a pass in regards to the server issues. At least as far as I know, in terms of technically speaking, I don't think there's anything that they can do to fix that in regards to a live service game. If I'm wrong, if they can fix that, if they can throw a little bit more money at it and fix that, that would be awesome. But from what it seems like, this is an issue that was out of their control. So that's the reason why the servers have been down. I wanted to bring you this little insider information video from my experience in Destiny, both going to Bungie and as a Destiny streamer having experienced this, and I wanted to bring you this little news update. So make sure to smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and click on the screen here to watch another one from the channel. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Later.